What is going on, Scan Fam? Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Current. We are here with Kenneth Kumor, co-founder and CEO of DLT Payments. Kenneth, thank you so much for hopping on today.
Thank you so much for having me.
For sure. Now, DLT Payments is doing some awesome stuff, kind of bridging that gap between Web 2 and Web 3. Kenneth, can you kind of tell us about your background and what exactly led you to the world of blockchain?
Oh, absolutely. So I've always been a technologist focused on IT. Sort of the first ecosystem that I was mostly involved with was SaaS. And then due to the fact that I had always a propensity for like the Austrian economic school of thought, like Mises, Hayek, and all those good things, I discovered about this thing, Bitcoin. It was back in 2012. And in fact, since 2013, I've already been seeking out like any event, any like hackathon, or like any opportunity to like network with these types of people. And this sort of brought me to there was this like the biggest Bitcoin event in Europe. It was the Bitcoin conference in Amsterdam in 2013. And at that time, I really didn't know what I was getting into, but I had a chance to meet people like Brian Armstrong, currently the CEO of Coinbase before they, made the IPO, made it big.
Right.
I also had a chance to speak with Gavin Andreessen, which was the last person to talk with Satoshi Nakamoto before he disappeared from the peer-to-peer forum, and a couple other really remarkable people. I believe there was also Charlie Lee, the creator of Litecoin, and also his brother, Bobby Lee, who was at the time the CEO of BTC China. That was one of the biggest exchanges, in the times of Mt. Gox, Mintpol, and,
Sure.
all these other ones. So that's a little bit about the history, how I got in. So it was quite a long time ago. Obviously, at the time, I was a student, I was a teenager, and more like as a hobbyist. But I knew that this is going to be the next internet, or like the next huge thing, and I want to build my career around it. And since then, I've been on a journey, trying to find a sustainable business model, how to create value for this community, and really help others leverage this tech for creating value.
Awesome. Yeah, and I appreciate all that background. Can you give some of our audience and even ourselves a little bit more about DLT payments, maybe how you came up with it, and just a little quick summary, and then we'll dive into the technology a bit more after.
Yeah, thanks so much for giving me a chance to deep dive into that. It's quite an interesting story. So, on my journey, since 2013, trying to find a business model in crypto that is sustainable, is not based just on hype or cycles. I've ventured into development of smart contracts, building DeFi apps for other companies, other projects. And in 2018, this has formalized in creating a company. The name of the company is DLT Software. And through that company, I've been doing business for 5 years now. We've done 7-figure in terms of revenue. And a while ago, I came up with this idea that it's not really my idea. I just adopted this sort of paradigm that we are going to enter like a multi-chain world, due to the fact that, I saw Ethereum fees climbing sky high, $5, $10, $15 to do like a swap, $80 for a fee, or to deposit like ETH into like a staking, like $100 in fees. Like,
Right.
it's not sustainable at all, and very much not in like the Satoshi's vision of having like a democratized access to financial technology. And then obviously layer 2 started popping up. Among the first was the BNB chain. Then you got Polygon. Of course, there are more of the L1 nature, but okay, then you got the Polygon. Then we got like the true L2s like Arbitrum, Optimism. Now we have ZK Sync. And basically, I thought that, since we are living in this universe of many chains, and interoperability is not so straightforward, like how are we going to deal with it? But especially from the point of view of a small business or a startup. So I already had a business at the time. I was invoicing clients locally in Europe, outside Europe, and some of them, they wanted to pay, let's say, in stable coins. But for instance, maybe they wanted to pay with USDC on Polygon, but I want to receive USDC on Arbitrum.
Yeah.
And now we have this situation, and like, how are we going to solve it? So in the first place, it's difficult even if both of you have USDC on the correct chain, and how are you going to settle that as far as like the invoice, what should be on it? So because if you are doing like business like properly, you're trying to integrate with like the existing infrastructure, like you need to do bookkeeping, you need to issue invoices, you have to have an accountant. Like with DLTPay, we work with leading like firms like BDO, or like we've had like analysis done by like a big four firm. So we are really all about being compliant now, MiCA compliance and everything that comes with that. But this brings me back to how it all got started. I was very fortunate to through some networking get into touch with Martin Schilling, who is the former COO of N26. That's a giant fintech startup. They've raised over $1 billion, and he recently became the managing director of Techstars Berlin. And on one day, I basically got an email that they are interested in what we are doing at DLT Soft. And I thought that since DLT Soft is more of like an agency, perhaps it's not really a great target for like a VC. I did not raise any VC fund for that. It's purely bootstrapped by myself. And I thought that since I'm already working on this new product to deal with basically cross-chain stablecoin payments and sort of like an all-in-one DeFi gateway for businesses or like real-world businesses, that perhaps this could be like a spin-off. And so I talked with Techstars, I talked with the managing director, I talked with the investment analysts, Brian. Hi, Brian, if you're watching. And so we've basically arrived at some terms, and we got in. It was a wonderful experience. I recommend it to all the founders that have this chance. So last year we have incorporated DLT Payments as a separate company in Tallinn, Estonia, which has one of the best regulations by far for any startup, not just Web3. It's super digitally focused. Even the place itself, I don't know if you've ever been in Tallinn, it's honestly at the level of like Switzerland or like Luxembourg in terms of like how the city looks, how everything just works.
Yeah.
And so we've incorporated DLT payments. So obviously at that time we already had some proof of concept. We've been testing it with some of our existing clients. Then I have onboarded some other team members, most notably my co-founder, CTO, Michael. Michael has previously worked for a bunch of financial companies and like a senior, like a CTO or like a senior dev type of role. So he has plenty of experience there. It took him, some time to sort of adjust to this new Web3 paradigm, but it was like very smooth, right?
Sure.
So together we basically spent some time in Berlin last year with the Techstars Accelerator from September until December. And since then we've been working very hard. We have released the open beta just a couple weeks ago. We have experienced significant growth there, for which we are very, very happy and thankful to our community. Among like our partners, we are very proud of the partnership with LiFi. LiFi is a DEX aggregator, which I believe is processing most of the volume if you do swaps through MetaMask. And so we have they're also based in Berlin. So we have integrated their SDK into our platform. So all the swaps performed on DLTPay basically use LiFi tech. So we are one of the first solutions to really serve as like a pilot for this. Other than that, we have sort of developed like the whole platform from the point of view of like an all-in-one solution. So you log in, all your balances are available across all the chains that are supported currently: Ethereum, Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon, and BNB chain, which we deem as the most stable, easiest to work with, most reliable. Even to work with all the 5 chains, we have to use combination of different technologies, APIs. There isn't like one straightforward solution, even from the point of view of a dev. So it takes, time, effort to really provide support for like all the other chains, even
For
though
sure.
it's still just EVM. So in our philosophy, we really, for this time, we do want to stick to the EVM concept. As with like other chains, it's so hard basically to to like do it in a way that is decentralized and does not rely on like some centralized server that could be hacked. It's very difficult. So for the time being, we would like to stay away from that. But there's some very exciting news partnerships coming up soon. I would say most notably, we got in the Chainlink build program for startups. So we will be, doing some awesome stuff with Chainlink. They have great tech for like integrating price feeds that are, like off-chain, as well as like some on-chain automation tools and all that. So they will be helping us launch some more advanced features that are currently in the white paper, like recurring payments, but are not basically live yet.
I'm curious, what's your like specific professional background? Are you more of a technical developer? Are you an operations guy? What role exactly do you play?
Yeah, I'm more of an operations guy. Although I've started as a web dev, I've been doing this since I was like a teenager. But then I really thought, what's really my added value here? And obviously, I'm not coding the platform.
Sure.
It's done by the CTO. I'm more overseeing the business development, operations, product, coordinating everything. But my background is, I would say, fairly mixed. I've been really always doing something with the computers.
Yeah, trying to kind of get back to how does like DLT payments empower small and medium-sized enterprises to control their like finances and like challenge traditional finance infrastructure?
Yeah, that's a great question. We really believe that it's in the ethos of DeFi to stick to self-custody, right? All these other platforms, whether it's Binance Pay, BitPay, CoinSpay, there is like 100 probably, like all these, like whether it's like a API or like a payment gateway that's processing crypto. As a business, you have to like sign up with your email and like submit documents. Like how is this DeFi? Like it is because basically what they advertise is that as a business, you might as well accept crypto and then immediately get paid in euros or dollars. But we said, here, let's take a step back. Why would that be needed? Why should you incur like this ridiculous fee, like 2-3% fee for cashing out into fiat, if you can just have stable coins? We already have reliable stable coins at this time, although we've had some events in the past few months that were quite turbulent. But I have pretty good faith in Circle and what they are doing. USDT, that's another story, for completely another discussion, another podcast. But they seem to be doing very well. So the idea is that currently we do not have plan in the short term to support like any fiat on-ramp or off-ramp. It's purely DeFi for business. So we might be even the first platform in the world to do this, because businesses or like real world businesses, they've been historically underserved by like the web3. None of these solutions are marketed to them. Like the payment gateways, sure, but those are not DeFi app. That's the same stuff as FTX, Celsius. We don't want to like repeat that.
Right.
So the idea is to really stick to self-custody while designing tools that will make life easier for business owners. Or let's start small. Let's start with small business owners. What are their needs? How can we support them on their journey to accept crypto from customers, or whether they already have crypto, manage it, manage that treasury, maybe get some yield on staking stables through Aave. Or there's this project that we are talking to, it's called Open Eden, and they have a token called T-Bill. They are based out of Singapore. They are regulated by the Monetary Authority of Singapore, and basically they give you, it's an ERC20 token, and they give you, I think, 5.2 yield, based on the current interest rate of the Fed. And these are the types of solutions, or Wi-Fi. Swap across any chain, any stable. These are the types of really features and tools that we want to offer to our ideal customer, to get them started on this DeFi journey without having to trust someone, and they can just do it on their own. All they need is a hardware wallet or MetaMask, and you just connect wallet. We are not connecting any information, collecting any information, and basically that's also the only way how to prevent leaks, hazards. You collect the minimum amount of information that you need to provide the service.
Yeah, in terms of, I'm just wondering, in terms of Web2, there's so many different companies that are like unsure about supporting Web3 payments. What are some of the go-to-market strategies your team might be taking, or maybe some pros and cons of integrating your kind of solution with a Web2 company?
Yeah, obviously Web2 companies, they are very conservative. They already are integrated with solutions like Stripe or Checkout, which also offer in some capacity to accept crypto. But then we again take a step back. Stripe, it's notorious for withholding your funds. If it gets flagged, something happens, could be you've done nothing wrong, and all of a sudden you cannot get in touch with someone. That's the big tech sort of paradox. Like you cannot log into your Gmail. Well, good luck getting someone on phone from Google.
Right.
Same with Stripe. The customer support, they cannot provide it at the level like for that scale. So the idea with DeFi is that you are your own customer support essentially, and you are in a position to resolve all your problems. There's no one else to blame. So obviously, for example, if they already are integrated with Stripe, another payment provider, this would mean that they have to integrate with a different set of APIs, and it's going to be a little bit of a hassle. But we are here to make it the least pain possible. And what this achieves is that suddenly you are diversified. What if something happens to Stripe, or there's many things that could happen, and it's always good to diversify. Whether you are investing or whether you are managing a supply chain, it's good to have a backup. So what we are saying is that you should not discriminate against crypto people or Gen Z just because like internally you don't like crypto, or like you don't wish for it to succeed. That's an ideological decision, and we are pro-business. We are trying to say that there's all these people, and maybe they want to pay with Dogecoin or some obscure token on on Polygon. But if there's liquidity for it and you get paid in USDC instantly, what's the problem?
Right.
Why not do that? And if you don't even have to like go through this tedious onboarding process, because we want to put ourselves in a position where we collect all the funds. No, we don't want to do that. We are very much sticking to the self-custody mantra.
I'm curious, what are some like unique values that you provide to businesses as far as the integration into DLT? You talked about the importance of sticking to kind of the traditional business rules and regulations, such as like accounting, bookkeeping. Are there any things like that DLT can offer these businesses? It is extremely hard for businesses operating within Web3 to know what to properly put on an invoice, even get invoices most of the time, because Web3 is so pseudo-anonymous. Not everyone's going to want to issue an invoice. Are there any solutions that you guys provide on that end?
Yeah. Right now, you can go to app.dltpay.com. You can issue your own invoice that is fully MiCA compliant, has all the information that you need to put on a regular invoice. We are obviously working to improve that even further, where, from country to country, this varies. And let's say some country, demands less information than the other. So we obviously want to create the best possible user experience, lower the onboarding as much as possible. So maybe, if you're from Netherlands, you don't have to put, all the details as when you are in Estonia.
Sure.
So currently it's more like all encompassing, and, anyone can use it, but we are trying to, simplify it a little bit, and there will be an option to like pick from where country you are. But clearly, you should put your, business ID, business address, business email, VAT number if you have one, what type of goods were provided, the quantity. This is not a discussion of like if this is something that you have to do or you are violating the law. If you so we are obviously in support of having like sovereignty as far as controlling your funds, that it cannot be easily confiscated by someone that sort of is in a position of moral hazard, or some regulation, or politics, war, whatever. But we what we are saying is that regardless of all that, as far as day-to-day operations of business, you do need to issue that invoice, even if it's for like even if you're a Web3 project and the person that is paying you is from Korea or Japan.
Right.
And obviously you should not do business with countries on the sanctions list. That is not something we support. But
Mhm.
as a true DeFi project, what we can do to limit that is obviously we can track the IPs. Obviously, if you are based in North Korea or some place that's on US sanctions list, this the UI will not be accessible to you. But it's DeFi that can always be bypassed. But we are acting sort of in the best way we can to protect us, as well as to protect the users and encourage responsible behavior, because that's the whole idea behind the project. Since we are based in Europe, that's sort of the first market that we focus on. Sort of the one sentence summary is we are building MiCA compliant DeFi products for businesses, SMEs, to help them succeed in the Web3 economy.
I think that's amazing. We kind of know firsthand at CoinScan how confusing, how complicated it can be keeping your books straight. DeFi is so new. There's not a book of best practices on how to do so. So I think, DLTPay is an excellent solution for businesses facing similar problems.
Yeah, it's definitely not a very sexy topic, but it's very much needed, and there is a huge return on investment for those that go this route of compliance and trying to do the right thing. Obviously, as a Web3 project, you are always nudged in a direction that could be along the lines of speculation or hype. All that, we are trying to avoid that as much as possible. That's why we have made the decision to launch the product. There is no token. It's entirely for free. It's currently not monetized in any way. We are just trying to provide the maximum value we can to the community, while we track the data. How are the users using the platform, where it really brings value. Is it the swaps? Are they using the wallet? Are they creating the invoices? What are the most in demand features that are coming up? Is it the recurring payments, payment links? Do people want staking? Do they want to be able to register an ENS domain through the same interface? Anyone is able to submit feedback, request the new features. So we are working as much with our community as possible. That's the current stage of the project.
Yeah, I feel like time and time again, though, we hear about the jarring user experience problem in crypto. How does DLT payments ease this trouble for both businesses and consumers?
Yeah, the way we look at it is that even like DeFi and fintech, these are not competitors, because ultimately definition of fintech is some type of technology that is making life easier in terms of conducting transactions, investments, payroll, and all that, and it automates some types of workflows. And the way we see it, what's going to happen maybe in the next decade or so, fintech DeFi, it's going to merge into one, which I like to call finance 3.0, where even like the settlement between fiat, crypto, it's going to be instant. For a user, it's going to feel like magic. There will be no friction there at all. And obviously, these larger institutions like MasterCard, Visa, all that, PayPal, they're just very slowly adopting this new paradigm, and they are doing it their own way, with the onboarding, email, all that. But eventually, we believe it will all switch to just Wallet Connect, as this is the true, or the truest form of identity you can have currently.
For sure.
And the way how this is going to improve experience for both businesses and customers is that, first of all, the businesses, the pool of customers will increase radically, because all of a sudden, you can accept payments from abroad, from people that perhaps they, for whatever reason, maybe philosophical, or they are located somewhere where they just do not have access to like Visa or something. They can pay you with a simple stablecoin transfer. So you will basically be able to capitalize on this like new group of people, Gen Z, more tech savvy. And as far as businesses, how our product is going to help them is that obviously, you can just share your address with someone and they can send you, crypto. It's fairly easy. What we are doing is that we are helping you automate, workflows. As a business, you rarely, just sell something to one customer per day.
Right.
Perhaps you have thousands of customers. You're running a Shopify or some e-commerce business, or you're dealing with microtransactions. So you want to have with each transaction individually issued invoice, for instance. Or as a business, you are doing a swap. You are maybe swapping from one currency to another, so you want to have some record of that for your accountant, besides a screenshot. So we're really trying to help on both ends here.
What are you most excited about for DLT payments? Like, you're building behind the scenes, you're like grinding away. What are you most excited for in the next like 5, 10? What excites you most about DLT payment?
It's a really great question. Well, as far as like a long-term span, 5-10 years, I'm really excited about the possibility of actually disrupting the Visa and MasterCard duopoly. I think this is going to happen, and it's going to be open source, where basically anyone can have like even a physical card that it is basically a hardware wallet, where it's very important that, of course, if you lose it, that the key will not be leaked. There will have to be some type of encryption, but you will be able to just swipe your plastic card that's neither Visa nor MasterCard anywhere and pay with USDC. Or maybe you're holding some other token there, and it's going to be like instantly swapped through some DEX like Uniswap. So as far as really disrupting the global monetary system and the way transactions are conducted, I think this is badly needed. I don't think it's all going to be just like an app in a phone, because people, they still like plastic, they like physical card. So I think this is also something that perhaps we might put some energy into. Right now, this is not our focus. We are purely focused on building the digital suite of products with recurring payments, payment links, and the API to as a checkout page.
Awesome. I think that's a great vision, and it shines through what you guys are doing. Lastly, Kenneth, I'm curious, what does the process of being onboarded onto DLT look like for a company?
It's extremely simple. You connect your wallet.
Okay. And what if this company has any special requests or wants to connect with DLT? And
we have Discord, we have Telegram. You can reach out through an email. We would be more than happy to accommodate you in any way we can. Obviously, with startups, people, they love to talk to founders, so we are trying to be as approachable as possible. As that's a big reason of why anyone would do business with us, is that we don't mind jumping on a call. If you love the product, we see you are using it, and you want something extra, we are so happy to always hear your feedback. Any type of engagement with the product, like, we deeply appreciate it. So obviously the product is designed as self-serve, so it's designed for scalability. Once we hit those numbers where it becomes unmanageable to provide consistent customer support, what's happening to Stripe, Google, Microsoft, all that, the level of support is abysmal. And at that stage, I think this would be a better alternative, that the product is entirely self-serve. basically at no point you will have to interact with any member of our team. As someone that has been running like an IT firm plus 5 years, like every day I get so many messages on LinkedIn, or someone wants to show a demo of their product. Frankly, I don't have time for that. And even if there is a choice of two SaaS solutions, one super easy, self-serve, I can just set it up myself, compared to a solution that would require me to jump on 2-3 calls with someone that's gonna guide me through it. Like, I don't want that. Obviously, the self-serve solution has a superior UX. Otherwise, I would not be able to set it up myself. So whether it's a consumer product or a business product, I think it should always be self-serve. I think not that many people are interested, to sit on a call and be guided through the demo. Perhaps if they don't have anything better to do. Sure, but business is all about efficiency and efficiency, if especially as a startup, if you don't have the speed, if you don't have the traction, if you don't execute, you will die. And especially if in tough times, currently there's a bad macro, like we all know about that. Since we've been incorporated, FTX, Silicon Valley Bank, now Binance, Coinbase getting sued by SEC, stuff happens, and that's why we are sort of keeping true to the original vision of self-custody, helping businesses with compliance, and we really like stablecoins. We really think that this is the future of payments, and that stablecoins, although they might be perceived by the Bitcoin and ETH maxis as like the evil money, it's still here. Like, it's not gonna go away anytime soon. Although no fiat currency has survived more than 100 years, but that was before internet, before all the new tech that has developed in that time. But I have an opinion that essentially, like, the market cap of USDC or maybe USDT or some other stablecoin or CBDC, it's gonna surpass that of Bitcoin and ETH.
I think that makes sense. Kenneth, like, having you on and kind of hearing about all that DLT offers, I think it is truly amazing and valuable. It honestly sounds like a product that we at CoinScan would use. So very cool stuff. Kenneth, thank you so much for coming on this week's episode. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up?
Thanks so much for all the support. If you would like to learn a bit more about what we do, go to dltpay.com. So currently we are running an early adopter incentive program where basically everyone that just goes to launches the app, connects their wallet, plays around, maybe sends a transaction, does a swap, you're gonna get rewarded. The tokens will be available after it has been launched publicly. The token is not launched, it has been deployed. So currently it is deployed on 5 chains: ETH, Polygon, Arbitrum, Optimism, BNB chain. So it's a multi-chain token. We are working with Seller to facilitate the cross-chain compatibility. So we will just be super happy if you give it a shot, give us a review, even if it's a negative one, that we appreciate as much as the positive ones. Connect with us on Telegram, Discord, reach out to me on Twitter. My DMs are open, and I would be happy to connect about any partnerships or help you get started with the product.
Amazing. Well, thank you again, Kenneth. Awesome stuff. DLT sounds very interesting. We'll make sure to leave all those links in the description. If anyone listening is interested, just go ahead and down there, check it out. And this has been the CoinScan team coming at you with another episode of the Cryptocurrent, and we will see you guys next week.